I would answer, first of all, that it was because of racism that I was inducted into the experience. I had no intention of being involved in debate. That was fathers from my conception. I came to Texas as the professor of philosophy at Texas Southern University. And while involved in that teaching, I used a methodology, a debate. You could not finish the class in logic without having been involved in debate. That assignment led to a suspicion that I wanted to be a coach. Yes. When I was called in to affirm that fact, they learned that I had no interest in being a part of the forensic community. And I continued the assignments in my logic class. They kept after me, and I finally said, well, if you 4 young men will be on the team, then I will coach you for as long as I am here, knowing that I will be here only 9 months. I coached the team for 3 months and then took them to Harvard and the University of Chicago, where they won both debates. Winning the debate had nothing to do with the fact that they were black and they were debating at a white school. They were debating the issue. And in both instances, the decision went to Texas State University for Negroes at that time. And when we came back, the first president, Dr. R. O'Hare Lanier, and Dr. Ina Bolton cornered me and said, Tom, you cannot leave. You must go back, get released from your church, and come back to Texas as coach of the debate team. I had no training in coaching anything, let alone debate. But that was put on my shoulder. And so I developed a program for debate. And we organized 2 levels, high school and college. The high school kids could not participate in the interscholastic league. So we opened the doors of Texas, at that time, then State University, Texas Southern University, and for years conducted a program bringing the students to our campus so they could go through the same kind of experiences that their peers had gone through because of racial discrimination. It moved away from the high school level to the college level, and we organized the I've forgotten the name that we called it. I think it was the Southern Intercollegiate Forensic Conference. Morehouse, Howard, Alabama State, Prairie View, TSU, and a couple of schools. And that continued for several years. It was not until the board, the decision was made to integrate that we discontinued. And so after participating in forensics as everybody else with a different color of skin had participated in, there was no need for any separation. And so, Glenn Cap, and it takes courage on the part of individuals to effect changes that may have been perceived or considered necessary. It takes somebody to step up. And Glenn Cap was the one from Baylor University who invited us to participate in the forensic tournament. And Barbara Jordan and Otis King were two of the debaters who integrated forensics in the South at Baylor University. And during that period, we participated in debate, but could not stay at the hotel, which was headquarters. And when we went to Durant, Oklahoma, they rented a cottage for us on the lake. So we had the privilege of the lake service while others were cramped into a hotel. But it was because we were not allowed to register in a white hotel. We moved forward from that time when it was recognized that excellence is not a matter of race, that is a matter of individuality. You can be superior and white, and you don't have to be inferior and black. These are characteristics of human behavior. And the participation in these activities warrant a recognition of the truth that opportunities ought to be made available to all. We had an experience at Durant, Oklahoma, about the time that just before, about that time, I'm not quite sure of the date, but they had a custom then of the after dinner speaker. That's a competition after dinner, and the after dinner speaker delivered an address at the dinner. See, they closed at the dinner. And we had two students to make it to the finals, both of whom were allowed to speak. And the coach emeritus of the school had an opportunity to speak. And he said, 20 years ago, I wrote a dissertation and won my doctorate. And in the dissertation, I said, blacks are inherently inferior. And then he said, but after listening to these two young people, I confess that I was wrong. You could hear a needle dropping to the floor. Everywhere the team has gone, its excellence has been recognized even by those who prior to that time had questions about their ability. Now, I didn't intend to take so long just to answer that one question, but one idea generated another one.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That's a name that the kids gave to what happened. You see, we couldn't go to the restaurants, and we couldn't do cooking on the highway. So I'd go to the grocery store and get ingredients for a meal. And we'd come there and fix that meal in the hotel and enjoy a good meal. Now, they said it's Freeman's Cafe merely because I furnished the ingredients for it. I didn't make the food. They did that. That's the Freeman. And we continue. And that became characteristic. So that we eat, even now, we don't always go to the restaurant. We bring food to the room and we eat together. And then there's a rationale behind that, and that is it provides opportunity for relaxation and interaction with each other, not on a competitive basis. It's human or normal. And it is a source of the development of friendships that last through the years. And it's very interesting to me that coming here, I see many of my former students who are still friends and go through life together. It provides an opportunity for the growth of persons in interacting with other persons.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, several things. First of all, forget the fact that you are black. You are human, filled with the capacity of every other human you are becoming. And don't think of yourself as a black representative. Approach your task as any other student will approach his task. Remembering, however, that there are still barriers that you will have to face because you are black. Just because you won first place doesn't mean that you're going to take first place all of your life. You've got to prepare yourselves for some disappointments. You've got to prepare yourself for some failures. And you've got to prepare yourself for people who don't think as you think. And you must behave in such a manner that you don't furnish justification for their feeling about you. They will come away saying, that was a nice person I talked to the other day. And you may open the eyes of some people so that they realize that quality is not limited to race. I don't think there's any one thing. It's probably the totality of things. And the fact that they were not limited just to debating. They were provided experiences on all levels. They went to churches, they went to schools, they went to religious homes, and they were involved. Their involvement in all of these, I think, is the thing that they stimulated them. And they may, well, it's hard for me to say because I can't get into their mind and find out what was there that contributed. I can't do that. I can stand on the outside and look, and from that perspective say their involvement in all of these things. And sometimes the challenge that involvement gave to them, they go to situations, I don't think we ought to re-elect this, so they are inspired to take the leadership role. And you see, the kinds of training that they receive equip them so that they can take and are not afraid to take leadership roles. That helps to account for it. I can't speak to how much it has changed in specifics, only that opportunities for the utilization of the skills and competences are provided now to an extent that they were not provided before. There are more opportunities now for one trained in speech and debate to take leadership roles in a society that is almost decadent. And it will depend upon these young minds who have been trained, who have the apperceptive mass now, to fall back on it and use it to the improvement of society. We regret the low level to which our society has gone. But regret won't change it. We've got to have young people who are courageous and don't mind speaking up and speaking out. You've got to do both of them, not just speak up, but you've got to speak out. But you can be sure that wherever there is good, there is evil competing with that good. And you've got to learn how to be strong enough to say, devil, get behind me, and go ahead with your activities. Yes, well, I can tell you what happened. I was guest lecturer at Morehouse College in 1947. And I learned from him that he was in the class. I didn't know that he was. I didn't even know Martin Luther King. I knew a student. We were in Atlanta, Georgia, after one of our debates, and after the tournament, we really go out, because the finest restaurant we could get our hands on. We were there, and Martin and his entourage came in. And I said to my students, look, there's Martin Luther King. And he and his entourage went over and sat down. We continued our dinner. And before dinner was over, he came to our table, stuck out his hand and said, Dr. Freeman, you don't remember me, but I remember you. You taught me. And then he went on to describe the course that I taught. And I looked at him and I said, I did. And from that time on, we knew each other as persons I knew him as Martin Luther King, and he knew me as Tom Freeman. A few years later, my brother, who at the time was director of the Czechoslovakia Symphony Orchestra, was in Oslo at the time he received the Peace Prize. And my brother saw him at the airport and decided to go up to speak to him. Then he said, no, he doesn't know me, so I'm not going to bother. And then he had second thoughts and said, well, I may not get this chance again, so I will go up and speak to him. He went up to Martin, stuck out his hand, and said, Dr. King, you don't know me. And before he could finish his sentence, Martin said, oh, yes, I do. You are Tom Freeman's brother. What are you doing here? And he told him that it was the first time that a black had conducted the Oslo Symphony Orchestra, and he had come for that. Martin threw up his hands and said, hallelujah. And that's the Martin Luther King experience. Now, subsequent to that time, we have appeared on the same program. At that time, we had baccalaureate services and commencement. And I did the baccalaureate sermon, and he did the commencement. Don't allow anybody to determine what you do. Don't listen to anybody telling you you can't do it. You are the master of your own destiny. It is not what other people say or what other people do, but what you do. You set your own heights.